Celtics join the race for Nic Claxton, 97 the Mouse. Which teams are in it? Welcome to the Celtics Talk Show. If you love the Boston Celtics, breathe the NBA, and like to stay up to date with everything that happens behind the scenes in the league, stay with me until the end, because today's topic is big, it's hot, and it could completely change the course of the season in Boston. The Boston Celtics are officially at the center of the league's conversation. As the trade deadline approaches, scheduled for February 5th, the name of the Celtics begins to appear increasingly stronger behind the scenes of the NBA as a team ready to act. And we're not talking about just any movement. We are talking about a heavy dispute involving several franchises for a center valued at $97 million. Yes, you heard right. A movement of this size does not come about by chance. And today we are going to talk, directly and without fluff, about what is happening, what makes sense, and why this matters so much for the present and the future of the Celtics. Before delving deeper into the topic, let me ask you something quick and sincere. If you like this type of content, if you want to help a channel that talks about Celtics every day grow, subscribe to the channel now. We are fighting to reach the goal of 1,000 subscribers, and this makes a huge difference to the growth of the Celtics Talk Show. Each subscription helps the channel reach more fans, brings more visibility, and allows us to continue bringing news, analysis, and behind-the-scenes frequently. So, subscribe, leave a like, and activate the bell. This really helps a lot. Now, let's get to the point. When the season began, the scenario in Boston was one of caution. Jayson Tatum's long-term injury naturally cooled many people's expectations. There was a question: how far could this team go without its main player in full form? The response came much faster than expected. Jaylen Brown assumed the spotlight in an impressive way, playing at an MVP level, leading the team on both sides of the court, and showing absurd maturity. The result of this is clear. The Celtics not only remained competitive, but also put themselves in contention for the title once and for all. The double overtime victory against the Brooklyn Nets last Friday was a perfect portrait of that moment. A very tough, physical, intense game, decided in detail, which led Boston to a record of 28 wins and 16 losses, keeping the team firmly in second place in the Eastern Conference. More than a victory, that game was a signal to the entire league. The Celtics are ready now. They are not a distant project. They are a real contender. And it is exactly in this context that a name appears that caught everyone's attention in that match. A name that not only had a direct impact on the game, but also began to circulate heavily in conversations about possible exchanges. Nic Claxton. According to information from reporter Jake Weinbach, the Boston Celtics are seen within the league as one of the main potential destinations for Claxton if the Brooklyn Nets decide, in fact, to listen to more concrete proposals as the deadline approaches. And here it is worth stopping for a second and understanding the weight of this. It's not every day that a center of this level, at full productive age and with a long-term contract, appears available on the market. Claxton wasn't just another player in that game against Boston. He was dominant at various times. There were 18 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks in 38 minutes. A very high performance in shooting, constant presence in the offensive rebound, and perhaps the most symbolic moment of the night, the dunk after an offensive rebound with less than 2 seconds to go, which forced overtime. It was a play that showed exactly the kind of impact he can have in big games, playoff games, season-defining games. And it's impossible not to ask the question, can you imagine this type of player wearing green? Claxton brings together characteristics that fit almost perfectly with what the Celtics are looking for. He protects the rim, changes marking on the perimeter, runs the court, finishes efficiently near the basket, and doesn't need the ball in his hands to impact the game. Within Joe Mazzulla's system, which prioritizes spacing, defensive intensity, and quick decisions, a pivot like this not only fits in, but also enhances the team. It is clear that there is concern at the moment. Claxton left that game with a finger injury and still needs to undergo more detailed examinations. He himself admitted after the match that he feels pain, that his finger was locking up, and that he will only know more after X-rays and MRIs. This may indeed generate caution on the part of interested teams. But so far, nothing indicates a serious injury to the point of completely cooling the market. And when we look at the season's numbers, the interest becomes even easier to understand. In 41 games, Claxton is averaging almost 13 points, more than 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and more than 1 block per game, playing around 30 minutes per night. All of this with a shooting rate of over 58% from the field. These are solid, consistent numbers that reflect a player in full evolution. The contract also weighs in this equation. Claxton is in the second year of a 4-year deal worth $97 million. He receives around $25 million this season, and the contract runs until 2027-28. The structure of this deal is seen as quite attractive to competitive teams because the annual value decreases over the years, reaching just over $20 million last year. For a team that thinks not only about now, but also about future flexibility, this matters a lot. In Boston, it is true that Neemias Queta and Luka Garza have delivered more than many expected. Both have played their roles well, especially in regular season games. But when the conversation turns to playoffs, to long series, to facing elite attacks and dominant centers, the demands rise. And that's where the difference comes in between having a functional rotation and having a pivot that changes the team's level. Another important point in this story is the exchange package. Anfernee Simon's name appears as the Celtics' main bargaining chip. His expiring contract, worth around $27 million, is extremely valuable in this type of negotiation. It allows salaries to be balanced and also gives the receiving team the possibility of opening up cap space in the short term. Not surprisingly, other teams, such as the Los Angeles Clippers, also appear as possible interested parties, which could open alternative paths or even generate an indirect dispute between franchises. And the Celtics are not alone in this race. The Los Angeles Lakers and other teams are closely monitoring Claxton's situation. This means that if Boston really wants to advance, it may need to act quickly and precisely. The price may rise, competition may tighten, and every decision made now can define how this squad will reach the playoffs. This is exactly why this subject is so relevant. We are not talking about just any reinforcement. We are talking about a movement that could be the detail that separates a good campaign from a historic campaign. A reliable rim protector with mobility and experience could be the missing piece to transform the Celtics into an even more complete team when Tatum returns and the roster is healthy. Now, let me ask you something, and I'll take this opportunity to invite you to comment below. Would you make this change? Would you give up important assets to bring in Claxton now, thinking about winning today? Or would you prefer to keep the squad as is and focus on internal growth? Your opinion matters a lot, and the debate greatly strengthens the channel's community. And if you've made it this far and haven't signed up yet, now is the time. We are very close to 1,000 subscribers, and reaching this goal will really help the Celtics Talk Show to grow, reach more fans, and continue delivering daily, direct, and hassle-free content. Sign up, leave a like, activate the bell, and stay with us, because this topic will still yield a lot until the exchange deadline. The Boston Celtics are on the league's radar. He's competitive, he's confident, and he's willing to move. If the fight for Nic Claxton continues until the end, we could be facing one of the most important moves of the season. And here on the Celtics Talk Show, you'll follow everything step by step. Stay in the video, because new information may emerge at any time, and we will be here to tell you everything. And to close this video the way the news deserves, I want you to pay close attention to this. The Boston Celtics are in one of those rare moments where every decision weighs tons. It's no exaggeration to say that what the board does, or doesn't do, before the trade deadline could set the tone for the playoffs and, who knows, the fate of this season. A center of Nic Claxton's level doesn't appear on the market all the time. When it appears, the entire league moves. And when several teams enter the contest, those who hesitate tend to be left behind. If this reinforcement comes, the Celtics will change their level. It changes defensively, it changes in the paint, it changes in the way the opponents will approach a series of 7 games. If it doesn't come, the message is also clear: complete confidence in the current squad and Jayson Tatum's full return. Whatever the path, one thing is certain: Boston is playing to win now. And that's exactly why this conversation doesn't end here. If you want to understand in more depth how these possible changes impact Joe Mazzulla's scheme, the tactical fit of the squad, the real scenarios for the playoffs, and what each move could mean on the court, I invite you now to go straight to the Celtics Analysis playlist. The link will be in the pinned comment. Just click and continue following Nesting. There we break it all down without guesswork or fuss. Before leaving, do the following. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and activate the bell. Our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and this really helps the Celtics Talk Show to grow, reach more fans, and continue to bring daily, quality content about the Boston Celtics. Every registration really makes a difference. Stay with us, go to the Celtics Analysis playlist, and stay tuned, because the market hasn't closed yet, and this story could gain new chapters at any time.